Today I'm going to be discussing the essential ways to market for your restaurant or local business using digital marketing. What's going on? This is Jack Scullin, and this is the 4th episode of the Morning Cup of Jack, and today I'm going to be discussing the best ways to advertise for your restaurant. And a lot of these apply to local businesses as well. First, let's talk about why a restaurant is different than really any other business. And it's for one reason and one reason only. On average, someone gets hungry 3 times a day. People get hungry, and when they're hungry, they need to eat food. So you need to be the business that is easily found and is appealing and is in their head, and they have to know about you. And when it comes to food, it's a very subconscious, very, I guess, completely gut-based way of purchasing something. Like most things, you get an urge to buy something. You go on a shopping spree, something lights up and you instantly want to buy it. But for the most part, that's not how people make decisions. Usually people buy things based on emotion, and then they validate their reason with logic. But when it comes to food, if they're hungry and they see something that looks delicious, they're going to want to get it. It's plain and simple. So in that matter, restaurants are pretty much the easiest market to advertise for, because all you have to be really doing is showing off your food in the best possible ways. So what I would highly recommend for any restaurant to do is, with their menu, there should be a beautiful picture of every single item on their menu, so that someone knows exactly what it looks like. If someone has just heard about your business and they visit your website, it should be flooded with pictures of your food. And if you can do that with each and every item on your menu, that would be the best way to do it, because that way your customers, if they're hesitant to want to go to your restaurant, they'll know exactly what they're getting into. And if it looks great enough, then they're going to want to go to it. So if you can, on your website, you should have a beautifully designed interactive menu where they can click on each item on that menu to see exactly what it looks like. And it doesn't take that much to get your food professionally photographed. Just hire a freelance photographer or purchase your own DSLR camera and get some good lighting, and then take a picture of each and every one of your items. And furthermore, to go on that, is when you're selling or you're trying to promote your restaurant, you have to focus on the food first to entice them. So, for instance, if you're running a social media campaign, here's the best strategy that I'd recommend. I would make your video completely visually based. Make your food as appealing and craving as possible, and have some interesting music to go along with it. It should be very sparse with the copy. It should be completely based on the food and what they're seeing. And if you want, you can make a carousel of people eating the food, of shots of the food. And then here's what you do. You gotta offer a discount. You can't just advertise, hey, come visit us on social media. When it comes to social media ads, like I've mentioned in previous videos, you have to create urgency and scarcity. And you create scarcity by offering a coupon that's only available to people who've seen the ad. And you create urgency by making it expire soon, so they can only use it on, by the end of the week. And don't get cheap with this. If you're trying to convert first-time customers, make the discount 50% off. And if you can spare it, give them a free entree. Because the statistical likelihood of someone visiting your restaurant after a first visit is 40%. After a second visit, the statistical likelihood of them visiting for a third time is around 42%. However, after a third visit, the statistical likelihood that they'll visit your restaurant for the fourth time is about 70%. So with restaurants, you have to think of it in a 3-visit deal. And this is from John Taffer, the guy who does Bar Rescue. So you have to be thinking about how you're going to first get that person in the door, and then once they have a flawless experience, you have to give them even more value. So if, you know, you can offer a coupon for half off their next entree or something. You have to consider this a long-term funnel and try to get them on the 4th visit. So if you're trying to convert people using the social media ads, make the radius of your advertisements very, very localized. Make it the smallest possible radius that you can. And the great thing about advertising for restaurants is you don't really need to do a lot of detailed targeting. If, you know, when it comes to advertising pizza, you know, it doesn't matter what age you are, what demographic, what gender, you're gonna like pizza. You know, maybe you can exclude vegans or something, but besides that, you know, you can just make it a very open targeting, but just make the radius so that it's a very small, so that if they see that, you know, it's like, oh, there's this new restaurant I just heard around and it's literally right down the street, they'll be more likely to go, versus, you know, advertising, trying to get someone to come to your restaurant if they live 20 miles away. So when it comes to advertising for a restaurant, you have to think about the 3 visits. So with social media ads, I would highly recommend showcasing those pictures to summarize, or a short video showing your food off, or a carousel, and giving them a discount, 50% off their entree by Friday. Make it the headline. Make it so simple, 50% off any entree or whatever you want to do, and make the radius very small. And then as far as an organic strategy, you want to make it so that there's a picture of every single one of your items on an interactive menu on your website. And then also tell your story. If, you know, you're a Thai place, you want to focus on very localized terms, or, you know, any business for that matter. So if you're in an Italian restaurant in, let's say, Decatur, Georgia, you want to create a piece of content on your site with the H1 being the best Italian food in Decatur. And then you go into you know, pretty, you know, 1,000 of 1,500 words of just explaining your story, explaining why your Italian's the best. You know, these recipes come from my grandma who was, you know, lived in Italy for 40 years, grew up in Sicily, whatever. And then along the way is that content, show off those pictures. Show off your grandma's famous cannolis, or her baked ziti, whatever it may be. But, you know, tell your story through the food of the images that, you know, you have on your site. And focus on very localized terms. When it comes to restaurants, you're trying to get that 5-mile radius around your restaurant. You're trying to get those to be the regular customers and make them a real hot audience. So when other people, when their friends want to go to a place to eat, they'll be like, oh, I know a great place around me. It's called this. And for organic social media posts, just post food, post promotions, post discounts. Give people a reason to share it. Say, tag 3 of your friends in this post to get half off your next entree. So that way they'll be working for you, they'll be tagging your friends, and like I say, the main goal of advertising is to let people do the advertising for you. Once you get someone intrigued and they're incentivized to share your advertisement, there's no better way to advertise a business than for someone else's friend to show them the advertisement. If someone says, oh, you got to check out this hilarious video, it's like, what? Who does it? Oh, it's Geico. That's a much more valuable brand experience than you being shown a Geico commercial. So social media ads, Focus on that short radius, give an incentivized offer with the organic on your website. Focus on pictures, pictures, pictures. Show a picture of every single one of the items on your menu. Tell your story, focus on very localized terms. And with the mindset that you have to have is you're trying to get them to get on the 4th visit. So incentivize them along the way. Incentivize your customers along the way to want to purchase, to want to visit your restaurant multiple times. And one last thing, quick statistic. This applies to local businesses, but I would say this is especially true with restaurants, where 88% of mobile users searching for local information take action within a day of finding results. So that could be a local dry cleaner, but that especially applies to restaurants. You know, when people are searching for localized information, they're ready to convert. They're not in the decision phase. They're trying to find the fast answer, and they're trying to take action immediately. So versus, you know, big purchases that people make online where they have to be sold through information, through sales tactics. When people search for local information, dry cleaner near me, boom, here's one right down the street. They're going to go right then and there. So just like a restaurant, if people are able to find you quickly, they're going to want to go to your restaurant quickly if it's near them. So thanks for joining me today, and if you have any questions about advertising for your restaurant, comment below, and in the meantime, I will chat with y'all later. Toodle-oo.